Have you ever felt like you've hit rock bottom, like the world is crumbling around you, and every door you try to open just slams shut in your face? I know I have, and I want to share a story with you today. Not just my story, but a story that I think many of us can relate to. It's a story about failure, about falling down hard, and about the long, slow, and often painful process of getting back up. My story starts about 10 years ago. I was in my early 20s, full of ambition and what I thought was a foolproof plan. I had just launched my first business, a small tech startup with a friend. We poured everything we had into our tower savings, our time, countless sleepless nights. We were convinced we were building the next big thing. For the first year, it felt like we were on top of the world. We got some initial funding. We hired a small team, and the buzz around our product was growing. I remember thinking, this is it. We've made it. A bigger, better-funded competitor launched a similar product, and they did it better. Suddenly, our once promising venture started to feel like a sinking ship. We fought to keep it afloat. We pivoted. We worked even harder. We tried everything we could think of, but the numbers just kept going down. Our investors got nervous. Our team members started looking for other jobs, and the pressure became unbearable. The day we decided to shut it down was one of the worst days of my life. I felt like a complete and utter failure. It wasn't just the loss of money or the end of a dream. It was the crushing weight of letting everyone down: my business partner, our team, our families, and most of all, myself. I had tied so much of my identity to this company, to being a successful entrepreneur, and when that was gone, I felt like I was nothing. For months I was lost. I barely left my apartment. I avoided calls from friends and family because I was so ashamed. I'd just scroll through social media, seeing everyone else's highlight reels, their successes, their happy moments, and it just made me feel worse. It felt like I was the only person in the world who had ever failed so spectacularly. That's the funny thing about failure, isn't it? It's an incredibly isolating experience. You feel like you're in a deep, dark pit, and no one else can possibly understand what you're going through. I replayed every mistake in my head 1,000 times. The what-ifs and if-onlys were a constant loop of self-criticism. What if I had made different decisions? If only we had launched sooner? The blame I placed on myself was a heavy burden, and it was paralyzing. I lost my confidence, my motivation, and my sense of direction. The future, which once seemed so bright and full of possibilities, now looked like a blank, terrifying void. The turning point wasn't some grand, dramatic moment. It was slow and subtle. It started with a conversation. A friend, who I had been avoiding for weeks, finally just showed up at my door. He didn't offer advice or try to fix my problems. He just sat with me and listened. He let me talk. He let me vent. He let me be a mess. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel judged. I felt seen. That small act of compassion cracked open a window in the dark room I had locked myself in. After that, I started taking small steps. Tiny, almost insignificant steps. I started by just going for a walk every day, just getting out of the apartment and feeling the sun on my face. Then, I started reaching out to people again, one by one. I was honest about what I was going through, and to my surprise, instead of judgment, I was met with empathy. So many people shared their own stories of failure, their own struggles. I realized I wasn't alone at all. Failure isn't some rare disease. It's a fundamental part of the human experience. Everyone, and I mean everyone, stumbles. This realization was a game changer. It allowed me to start reframing my experience. Instead of seeing my failed business as a brand of shame, I started to see it as a lesson. A very expensive, very painful lesson, but a lesson nonetheless. I learned more from that failure than I ever could have from an easy success. I learned about resilience. I learned about humility. I learned who my true friends were. I learned what I was truly passionate about, and what I wasn't. One of the most important things I did was redefine my relationship with failure. I stopped seeing it as an endpoint and started seeing it as a data point. It wasn't a judgment on my worth as a person. It was feedback on a specific approach. This shift in perspective is crucial. When you detach your self-worth from your outcomes, you give yourself the freedom to try again, to experiment, and to risk failing, because you know that a setback doesn't define you. So, I started to rebuild. Slowly, I took a regular job for a while to get my finances back in order and to regain some stability. It wasn't glamorous, but it was necessary. It gave me the space to heal and to think about what I really wanted to do next. During that time, I read a lot. I talked to a lot of people, and I did a lot of self-reflection. I realized that my passion wasn't just for tech. It was for building things and solving problems. And eventually, a new idea began to form. It was smaller, less ambitious than my first venture, but it felt more authentic, more aligned with who I had become. I was terrified to start again. The fear of failing a second time was very real. But this time, I was different. I was more realistic. I was more prepared. And I knew that even if I failed again, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I had survived it once, and I could survive it again. That's the secret, I think. The key to rising above life's difficulties isn't to avoid falling. It's to learn how to fall, and more importantly, how to get back up. It's about building resilience. And resilience isn't something you're born with. It's a muscle you build through practice. Every time you face a setback and choose to keep going, you're doing another rep. If you're going through a tough time right now, if you feel like you've failed, please hear me on this. It's okay. It's okay to feel sad, to feel angry, to feel lost. Allow yourself to grieve the loss of what could have been, but don't let that feeling become your home. Don't let failure be the final chapter of your story. Start small. Reach out to one person you trust. Go for a walk. Do one thing that makes you feel even a tiny bit better. Separate your identity from your failure. You are not your mistake. You are a person who made a mistake, and you have the capacity to learn from it and grow. Look for the lessons. What did this experience teach you? How can you use that knowledge to be stronger and wiser in the future? And most importantly, be kind to yourself. The world can be a harsh enough critic. You don't need to be your own worst enemy. Treat yourself with the same compassion you would offer a friend who is going through the same thing. Remember that your journey is unique. Don't compare your behind-the-scenes struggles to someone else's highlight reel. Today, my life looks very different than I imagined it would 10 years ago. I'm running a new business, and it's successful, but my definition of success has changed. It's no longer just about financial metrics or public recognition. It's about doing meaningful work, having a healthy work-life balance, and finding joy in the process. The scars from my first failure are still there, but they're not wounds anymore. They're reminders of how far I've come, and of the strength I didn't know I had. Your rock bottom can become the solid foundation on which you rebuild your life. It's not easy, and it's not quick, but it is possible. You are more resilient than you think. Keep going, one small step at a time. The view from the other side is worth the climb. Thanks for listening to my story. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you know someone who might need to hear this message, please share it with them. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. Take care.